The Egyptians, one of the most powerful and lasting civilizations of all time. One of the oldest civilizations of the first four in the world. Known for their pyramids, their pharaohs, mummies, and also hieroglyphics. They were also fierce warriors. Under attack from the Phoenicians, their rivals across the Mediterranean Sea. The Phoenicians are mostly known as sea traders. The Phoenician battle ducks were fierce, savage, okay, so the Phoenicians may not really have had battle ducks, but it's easy to remember that their civilization traded all along the Mediterranean Sea, and as if you remember, I've been calling the Mediterranean Sea the crazy duck, so therefore you can kind of have fun with this. The ducks really don't stand a chance, but man, they've lasted pretty long as it is. Got to give them credit, they're really going after the Egyptians, but anyway, it looks like the Egyptians are going to win. So this unit is all about first civilizations that began in river valleys, and why these locations provided such a perfect environment for the growth of civilizations. Early civilizations had challenges. As people learned how to grow food in the Neolithic era, it led to the rise of villages, towns, cities, and then eventually kingdoms and empires. So we're going to focus on the first four of the ancient civilizations that were the earliest that we are aware of. The Egyptians, the Mesopotamians, the Indians, and then the Chinese. And then after that, we're going to move on and learn more about the Phoenicians and the Hebrews, which each had specific importance in terms of religion, economics, trading, etc. We've already focused on the geography during the introduction videos, which you can always go back and watch again. However, I'll always spiral back and give you more repetition. Geography is not everybody's favorite thing, so that's why you're going to hear me using the cheesy kindergarten names for some of the spots, the four locations, the different shapes to help you remember. So the more you see them, the more you're exposed to them, it'll become more familiar to you and you'll be more confident. As you look at the locations of the oldest four civilizations, remember, river valleys provided water and rich soil for crops. This is very important because today we have advanced technology and we're able to manipulate the environment much more easily. Early farmers, they needed help. Today we have powerful tools that can dig deep into the dirt to loosen it up to allow seeds to be more easily planted. However, during these ancient times, a river flooding made the soil soft and filled with nutrients, which made crops grow much easier. They couldn't go to Home Depot and buy a bag of fertilizer. Now for you, you're going to need to know the locations, which again, we've already touched on that, but you'll see these as we go. So this is the Nile River Valley and Delta. You can see that triangular shape as I zoom back and then I'll zoom back in. This is from the video game Flight Simulator, which is pretty realistic and you've seen other clips. But the main thing I want to show you here is look how green it is along the Nile River. All that sand everywhere. Nothing can live in a desert, right? Well, of course some things can, but that doesn't make it easy for farming. So here I am flying and you can see the pyramids in the distance, but look as I look over to the right of the airplane, you can see nothing but green. Now this is modern day Egypt, and even then, that's where the city is built up. The pyramids are out in the desert, but as you get close to the river, it's nothing but lush green all around going up to the delta. So this made it much easier for humans to grow food, and that's what led to their survival, and Egypt's one of the longest lasting ancient civilizations of all time. This graphic is from the video game Assassin's Creed Origins. It shows the different periods of Egyptian history. The Old Kingdom is famous for the pyramids, but Egypt also endured for many thousands of years until conquered by Alexander the Great. Other periods include the Middle Kingdom, the New Kingdom, and the later period, and then ultimately we get to Cleopatra, who is one of the most famous Egyptian leaders. So for those of you that like video games, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is kind of interesting. It takes place right before Julius Caesar gains power in ancient Rome. We'll get to that down the road. So even though this game is set in Egypt, it's basically taking place later during the time of Cleopatra. And just for your entertainment purposes, I'll let you see here in the background. This is me playing, and I'm at the top of the Great Pyramid. And you can see the landscape all around. You can see the Nile River in the distance. You can see the green, as I was talking about earlier. So again, if you like history a little bit, or if you don't, but you like Assassin's Creed, a lot of these Assassin's Creed games get a lot of things right about history, and I'll be showing you quite a few clips from other games as well. When you compare it to Flight Simulator in terms of what Egypt looks like now, where the pyramids are, it's pretty accurate. They've done a really good job of preserving and showing you what it would have looked like during this particular time period. So that's one of the hard things about Egypt, is when we talk about, for example, Mesopotamia. We know Mesopotamia, it's possible that could be the first civilization, but they don't last. Like, for example, today in the world, there is no place called Mesopotamia. And that's kind of where Egypt gets the upper hand in terms of being more famous, more lasting, etc. So same thing with the Indus River Valley and the Indian civilization. Yes, there is a continent called India, and we have Indian people that live there, but the actual settlement where the Indus River, those first people were, that's not even part of India any longer, which again, we'll talk about that next unit. So the Phoenicians and the Hebrews are the two important later civilizations. So these were not quite as early as the four major civilizations that we saw, but the Phoenicians and Hebrews both have unique contributions that we need to understand. So to get to them very quickly, the Hebrews are the first people to be monotheists, to believe in one God, and the Phoenicians give us our alphabet. So you can see the map. I have a yellow duck in the middle of what I call the crazy duck, which is the Mediterranean Sea. So what you need to know in terms of location, when you see a test question, and I'll give you examples of that later, about the Phoenicians, you need to understand they're all around the Mediterranean Sea. They're all around the crazy duck. You're not going to be asked specifically where their key cities were, but just understand, when you see the crazy duck, think about the Phoenician battle ducks. Think about the Phoenicians. They traded with all the different cities around the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, so this is a sample SOL question that's no longer in the rotation that we're aware of. It shows you a map of the Mediterranean basin. You can see right there in the middle, there's the crazy duck, and right above that we have the Nike tennis shoes. So that's the Mediterranean Sea and the Black Sea. So you should know those areas by now. We've been talking about them, and you'll get more used to them as we go. The blue, the legend says areas of settlement. So who settled in those areas? So if you look at the question choices, it says Greek. No, not the Greeks. Who's all along the Mediterranean Sea? Not the Egyptians, because they're on the delta of the Nile. Definitely not the Hebrews, because they're on the Jordan River. And then that leaves the Phoenicians, which again, you really should know that, because again, the Phoenicians, they're all around the Mediterranean Sea, and that's what you're seeing represented in the blue areas. Okay, here we go. This is another released SOL question. It says ancient civilizations. It's a graphic, has the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 on specific locations. Now we're always playing Where's Waldo with our 4 shapes. So you can see number 1, we have the Nike tennis shoe or the Black Sea right there. Nike tennis shoes are coolest in black. Then we have the crazy ducks behind the Mediterranean Sea. And now we have 2 rivers. We met someone there. Mesopotamia, Euphrates, Tigris. So then right there where number 2 is, we know right beside Mesopotamia, we have the Jordan River. Michael Jordan, he brews his own beer. The Hebrews. Who brews? The Hebrews. Michael Jordan, he brews his own beer. So the Jordan River. So their location, that's simple, number 2. So here's the real map. That shows the Hebrews. Where the Star of David is, that's basically the shape that represents them. Okay, so just to review, for these locations, you have the Egyptian civilization on the Nile River Valley and Delta, Mesopotamian civilization between the Euphrates and Tigris, the Indian civilization on the Indus, and the Chinese civilization on the Hung-He. Then we have 2 important later civilizations, the Phoenicians along the Mediterranean Sea coast, and the Hebrews on the Jordan River Valley. Again, the cheesy mnemonic that you can remember, Michael Jordan, he brews his own beer. Okay, so we're basically done with part 1 of this video, so I'm going to let you look at a little bit of Assassin's Creed Origins clips as I wrap this up. We're going to be moving on to part 2, where we're going to focus on some different areas of this unit and a few more of the test questions in particular. But again, this is Assassin's Creed Origins. You can see the pyramids, pretty fun game.